Well, hello, everybody. I am so excited today. We have Jeanne here with us. Jeanne is a certified life and happiness coach. She is a certified assertive confidence coach and a holistic wellness coach, certified empowered speaker, author of 5 self-development books. She is all that in a bag of potato chips. So I just had to throw that in there. She is amazing. I'm so thrilled to have her come and share with us today. She empowers women who have challenges in their lives and who have lost themselves somewhere along the way. She empowers them to gain their confidence back so that they can live the life that they desire. She empowers them to have love, joy, peace, and happiness. And once you get to dive into this conversation with Jeanne, you are going to be like, yes, she is in it for the main purpose of love, just spreading it. So that's the topic we're going to talk about today with Jeanne. She's going to talk about the power of love and just how it can really just, if it oozes out of you, like it just like you're filling your cup with all this love, it's going to pour out to everybody around you. So love isn't just all about giving, but you got to love yourself too. I'm sure she'll tap into that a little bit. But welcome to the Beautiful You community, Jeanne. I am so thrilled to have you here today and just to talk about love. So welcome.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you so much. I feel so honored to be here and to be able to share my life with your community. I am beyond thankful. So thank you for inviting me.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Yes. This is a beautiful community, and you feel the love, and you feel the beautiful connection, and every time I have your app on my phone, so your little symbol will come up when there's a message posted, and it just brightens up my day.
Aw, that warms my heart. Thank you.
Yes, it just brightens up my day. So thank you for having me here.
Yes, I'm so grateful to have you come. I had the great honor, and I probably share it within the app as well, to be a guest on your podcast, which is a fabulous thing that you're giving back to the world as well. So that's the other thing we didn't share in the intro, is that Jeanne also has a podcast and a YouTube channel. So you can totally check her out. So yeah, we'll share all the information here at the end of our conversation today, so you can
Yes,
follow her
yes.
along. So yeah.
In fact, I did one today, and it kind of comes into what we're talking about tonight, the power of love. I love that. It's just that subject just is wonderful because I want to tell my story. Because it's all about love. My story is a love story.
All right, well, let's hear it.
I want to start because this, Stacy, is going to be the window to my soul. And it started when I was about 3 years old. And my first memory is of my mother screaming. Now, this doesn't start off as though it's going to be a love story, but it's just showing the power of love. Because I woke to my mother screaming, and my father was beating my mother. And this went on throughout my childhood. And remember, this is the window to my soul. This went on throughout my childhood. And I was always the one that wanted to protect my mother. So I would get between, as I got older, I would get between my mother and my father to try to protect my mother. And one day doing my father slapped me. And I realized that I was not the type of person that would take it and I would fight back. So I decided that it would probably be best if I left home. It would probably be best if,
Oh,
and yeah, now let me backtrack just a second. Where I was born, and this, when I say this, it sounds like something you might see in a movie, but it's just my life. I was born in the middle of a cotton field in a 2-room shack, no running water, no electricity, no inside toilet. It was just, and in fact, we had dirt floors.
oh, wow.
Yes, it was, we were very, very, very poor. And our situation somewhat improved as I got older, but we were still on the farm. We were still, living, it was a plantation actually, because my father was sharecropping. And he was a Baptist minister. Now get this.
Wow.
He was a Baptist minister, but he was beating his wife.
That happens, friends. That happens. Mm-hmm.
He was beating my mother, on Saturday night, and Sunday morning he would get up in the pulpit and preach.
Mm.
And you can imagine what impressions this would have on a child.
Yeah.
And I was very, very sickly. I had asthma. I had a very, very severe case of asthma. And the doctors had said several times to my mother, they did not expect me to live.
Wow.
And so it was pure hell, really pure hell. And I had a vision, and I love to read.
Mm.
And I would get lost in books, and I would my imagination would soar. And I would imagine myself in, different parts of the world doing different things. And I knew that I had to remove myself from the situation. And so I started plotting how I was going to leave. Now, we were in the country, and I didn't have a job, no money, no. So I had to figure out, how am I going to get out of this situation?
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do? And this is why I know, and I tell people, visualization, visualizing what you want. If you desire it enough and you visualize what you want, you can bring it into fruition. It will happen for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I started visualizing at 15 where I was going to go and how I was going to leave. And things started falling into place. And that's a story in itself, how I left home.
Yeah. I left home when
I
I was 15 too.
yes, I was 16 when
Mm.
I was 16. And I fabricated a letter from my father to a brother he had in California. Now I'm in Louisiana. This was in Louisiana. I fabricated this letter and pretended like it was from my father, and said that it was okay if he sent me a bus ticket.
Okay.
And so once I sent the letter off, I because I was sickly all the time, I pretended to be sick so that I could stay home and be able to get the letter when the letter came from the uncle with the bus ticket.
Okay.
And so when the bus ticket came and I got the letter and had the bus ticket, then I told my father I was leaving, that I was leaving home. And of course he didn't want me to go. And I, had to tell him that whether he wanted me to go or not, he couldn't watch me 24 hours a day.
Right.
And when I had an opportunity, I was going to get on the bus and I was going to leave.
Mm.
And so finally he said, oh, okay, I see you're determined to go. So go. But one thing I have to say about my father, he did tell me that I always had a place to come back to if I ever decided that I wanted to come back home. And so there was good in my father. And in fact, I had a love-hate relationship with him. I loved him for a lot of the things that he was, because my father was the type of man that never said he could not do anything.
Right.
He was, I can do that. I can do that. I can never, ever remember my father saying there was nothing he could not do.
Right.
He really believed he could, I can do that, but there was this other side where he was being abusive to my mother. So I had that love-hate relationship with him. He had a lot of wonderful qualities,
Right.
So, but I left home when I was 16. I went to California, lived with this aunt and uncle, but I took all of this baggage with me. See, you can leave different situations in your life,
When we carry it with
horrendous,
us.
but you carry it with you.
Yes.
Unless you have done something to heal yourself or get healing, you carry all of that with you. No matter, you can go anywhere in the world, you take you with you.
That's right.
And so I took all of that with me, and I graduated from high school. I started college. I met my oldest son's father when I was a freshman in college. Green, totally green. This little girl from Louisiana, country girl. He was a big city boy with a convertible car. Oh, I thought he was everything.
Baby, take the roof off.
Oh, yes. I thought he was everything. I just thought I had it made. He was this big time college man, and I was just so proud to be his girlfriend. And I just thought I had it made. I ended up getting pregnant, didn't know anything about birth control pills. I was really just very green. Didn't know anything about birth control pills, ended up getting pregnant, and forced him to marry me. I forced him to marry. I was like, I showed some backbone this time. I was like, I am not going to tell my parents, write home, call home and tell my parents I'm pregnant. When I tell them I'm pregnant, I'm going to tell them I got a husband.
Oh yeah, because especially with the Baptist dad, right? Like you.
Oh yes,
so
and back then it was really, really frowned on, to be pregnant and not married. Yeah. Oh wow, that was really something. That was a no-no. Especially if you were and my aunt and uncle were Pentecostal. He was a deacon and she was up in the church. They were, high in church standing, and here I am pregnant. And in fact, they did end up disowning me. Yes, that's another story. But I thought I had it made, getting married and all. My husband left me and my son when he was 3 months old. And here I am, again. Now, he was not physically abusive, but he was mentally abusive because I was never good enough for him.
Right.
I was never good enough for him. I mean, here he was the big time college man. I am the little country girl. I was never good enough for him. And so my self-esteem was very, very low. I didn't love myself. I didn't have a sense of who I am. I mean, I always was seeking other people's approval. I wanted to be loved by other people. I didn't see myself as being worthy at all, not at all. I was a people pleaser. That was my thing. I wanted to please everyone. I wanted people to like me. And I thought that in order for people to like me, I had to be a certain way, not knowing who I am, but trying to just fit into however the situation was so that person would accept me.
Right.
So after divorce, my husband and I divorced, I started really going down in a dark, dark, dark place. It was during this time that I had my first drink. It was, and after a while, it started tasting good.
Right. And how old were you at this time, love, when you had your baby?
I was 21.
21.
I was 21. I was, and this was during the disco era. This was the first time I'd gone into to a disco. Oh, I fell in love with all the flashing lights and the dancing. And so for the next 10 years, I was a party girl. I was dipping and dabbing, alcohol, drugs, from man to man, being abused, not knowing myself, not just lost, totally in darkness. And my son spent a lot of time with his grandmother, my husband's mother. And I thank God for her, because she took care of a lot while I'm partying and doing all of this and being out there and thinking I'm having fun. But I was lost. I was being abused, and I became homeless during this time. And I remember Stacy one day walking down the street. It was in the wintertime. And I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't have a vehicle. I didn't, I had gotten thrown out. The person that I had been living with, he threw me out on the street, and I didn't have anywhere to go. And I'm walking down the street and I'm thinking, just lost. And I remember looking up at the sky and just crying out and asking God, why am I going through this? And God sent an angel, Stacy. He sent an angel. It had started to rain and it was cold. This man stopped and he said, this was an angel. And I was so desperate at the time, and didn't know what to do. I was just grateful that someone was reaching out to me. And he said, you shouldn't be out here. It's cold. You don't have a coat. It's starting to rain. And he took me, Stacy, to Macy's, bought me a new coat, hat, gloves, everything that I needed to be warm. He gave me the keys to his apartment,
Wow.
and he went to stay with a friend of his. Now, he gave me the key to his apartment, told me to always, when I was there, to put on the deadbolt lock so that nobody could come in unless I let them in.
Right.
He never came back to his apartment all the whole time I was there. I don't even remember this man's name, Stacy. All I know is he was an angel.
Right. Oh. Sent, God
The
sends.
power of love.
Yes.
The power. This was love. This was love.
Mm.
I had a job, got a job, worked, and when I got my first paycheck, there were two girls at this job that were looking for a roommate, and I moved in with them. And when I called him and told him that I was leaving, he said, just leave the key on the counter, leave the door unlocked.
Mm.
I never saw him after he gave me the key the first time. I never saw him again.
Wow. That is such a gift. Such a gift. So I wonder, that gentleman must have had that specific place just to help out people.
I don't know. I guess I should have asked him more questions, but I didn't. It's like,
You just knew in your spirit that this was safe. I'm going to be okay. Yeah. And how long were you there for?
I was there for about 2 months.
Wow. That's precious.
Wasn't that was an angel? That's why I say this, he was an angel. Now, you would think that after that, it would have been the end to the story, but it wasn't, because I went on and still abused alcohol. I abused drugs. I got in other abusive relationships. And it reached the point where, and then I had another son. I got pregnant and had another son. And he was really what changed me, in the sense that I really started to become aware that I should become more responsible.
Right.
My oldest son was 12 by this time, and here I am having another child. And I'm saying to myself, this can't go on.
Right.
This can't go on. I have to make a change. Okay, I want to make a change. And then I met this man, and I thought that this was someone that we could have a life with and get married, and it would be, but it turned out he was worse than anyone I had ever been with, because he almost beat me to death.
Oh my.
He almost beat me to death. And I had to start saying to myself, Stacy, what is it? What is it? I had to look at me. So I decided I was going to become celibate. I decided that I had to take time and really look at me. Really examine me.
Right.
Really develop an up close personal relationship with God. Me and God.
Yeah, your bestie.
My bestie. Me and God.
Yeah.
I decided it was just going to be me and God, until I figured out, what is it about me?
Yeah, because when
that
you're going through that stuff, it's sometimes we feel like we're broken, right? Like we're like, oh, nobody wants us. We're just broken. We're
we're
not
not worth that.
valuable. We're
I'm
not
not worth
worthy.
any.
Hmm.
But I knew, I stopped and I said, what do all of these men have in common?
Mm,
Me.
mm,
They have me in common. So yes, they are abusers. Yes, they're hideous. Yes.
mm.
But what is it about me that I allowed hideous people into my life?
Right. It's a good question to have.
What was it about me?
Yeah.
And I started down this road of looking at me, and I realized I didn't love myself.
Mm, come on.
I did not love myself.
Mm,
I started looking at my childhood and how I had always been told that I was ugly.
oh,
I had always been told, uh, oh, this was during the time Popeye and Olive Oil, the cartoon.
yeah.
I was real skinny. I was real skinny. So some children called me Olive Oil. And
Oh,
then I had these big eyes in this little skinny body. So some children called me Popeye. So I was Popeye and Olive Oil all in one.
well, look at you. You're such a creative. I can feel your pain, Jeannie, because I grew up being told, there was my mom went through a lot of abusive situations. Like we seen guns in her mouth. I seen beer bottles smashed over her head, knocked her right out. Like I've seen her raped. Like I've seen my mom go through the thick of things. And then even growing up with alcoholism and drug addiction within our family as a kid, like Jesus Christ was a swear word in our household. We didn't know anything about
Mm,
God except for to use it as a swear word. And then there was just my stepdad would pulled my mom out of bed by her face when she was sleeping because he got an impaired charge. Well, that was his fault, not hers. She's at home safely
mhm,
in bed, and he
mhm,
took out his aggression on her. And just watching all of that, and then even growing up, like my parents used to call me like, "Oh, you're a nothing, you're a nobody, you're never going to amount to anything." They often
mhm,
would say things like that. So I know how that creates this identity within you that you aren't valuable, that
mhm,
you aren't worthy of being loved, and that, and then just having that, self-reflection of just like, well, and I've been abandoned too, like when you said when your family rejected you, when you had your first son. I had the same thing happen to me when my mom passed away, when she committed suicide. All my family is like, oh, you're not blood related, we don't want nothing to do with you. And
mm.
I lost everybody overnight. It was devastating. And I was like, well, I guess I am just nothing but trash. And I did the same things, Jeannie. I went to find, my mom taught me really well to spread my legs for love, or pack
Mhm,
your car and run when trouble comes, right? So, and
mhm.
I was on that same trajectory. I was trying to, oh, you love me? Okay, I'll give you whatever you
Oh yeah,
want.
don't say, and you, oh please, you say I'm pretty. Oh, if
Yes.
you say I'm pretty,
I
oh,
will
I'm
cling to
yours for
you
life.
like a leech. Like you're not going anywhere. If you think that if you can see that in me, I'm going to hang on to you forever, until they kick you to the curb, right? Because they're too
Right.
needy.
Until they start treating you like trash.
Yeah,
Yes.
or they find some attraction in somebody else or something else,
And you're
right?
so needy that you just can't believe you. Oh, you still want, oh,
Yes. So I can relate to some degree for sure.
yes. And remember, I don't know the time that we talked before, I had told you that I was your mother. I was that, what your mother went through. is what
Right.
I went through as far as men were concerned. You
Right.
know, I was your mother.
Mm.
That was me. People tossing me around like a rag doll.
Yeah.
And
Having any foundational grounding, no security.
oh, no, Stacy,
Yeah.
I moved. I could, I must have moved 20 times within a 2 or 3 year period. It was nothing for me to just pick up and leave and move.
Yeah.
It
Just
was nothing.
everything in my backpack. Let's go. Yeah, we've been there too. Yeah.
Ah, I was known as a vagabond. I mean, oh, but when I looked at myself and I did this self-examination, and I saw that how much I did not love myself,
Mm.
I started to decide that I'm going to figure out what I need to do to love me.
Mm.
I'm going to start doing those things that I know will empower me.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the things that I'm looking for. I always say I went looking for love in all the wrong places. I went looking for happiness in all the wrong places. And I was doing my podcast today and I was talking about, because I am Jeannie Muhammad, your global happiness expert. And
Mm.
I can say that because I know that we go looking for happiness, looking for love, all out here, all yonder, all in things and different in people
That's
and
right.
all of those things. When somebody gives you something, they can take it away.
That's right.
But once we understand the power that God has shared with us, he shared himself with us.
He sure has.
And once we activate that power, and once we understand the love, when you say God is love, that means God equals love. And once we have that up close personal relationship with him, and we realize the blessing we have in this body that he gave us, he gave this to us.
Yeah.
He blessed us with this.
So curves and all, we just gotta like love it all.
Love it all and see the
Yes.
beauty in it.
Yes.
See the beauty in it.
Yes. Like I didn't get my hips for just, out of pure chance. I got them from having babies. So that's gorgeous.
and love it all.
Yes.
Love it all. And know that God loves you regardless.
Yes.
Now, how do you show that? How do you show the love that God has for you? The best way to start is with loving you.
Mm.
And when it sounds you how can you love someone else if you don't love yourself? That's said all the time, but it's become such a cliche in a sense that people really don't stop to think that when I say I love you, now how do I know you really love me?
Mm.
I'm going to look at how you treat yourself.
Mm.
How do you treat yourself?
Mm.
Now, what kind of foods do you feed yourself?
Mm.
What kind of care do you give yourself? Do you take time to make sure that you are eating properly, taking care of this temple, this body?
Mm-hmm.
Are you putting drugs and alcohol into this temple? abusing drugs and alcohol?
Mhm.
Are you allowing someone else to disrespect
Right,
this? Are
right,
you disrespecting this
right.
body that God has given you?
And that just means like talking down to yourself, picking yourself apart, comparing yourself to others, all the things, right?
All that negative self-talk,
Hmm.
all that negative self-talk.
Like out of
That's
pure
why the name of
transparency, I
my
never,
podcast.
yeah, like I never really caught that concept until probably I'd say about 8 years ago, 9 years ago. I started recognizing like, because I was always pointing blame, like in our marriage, in my marriage, just be like always thinking that he had all these issues. Then I looked in the mirror, I'm like, no, Stacey, you got all the baggage. He's got some, don't get me wrong. Like he definitely has some. I mean, he's not going to get out scot-free. Like, but I definitely came into our relationship with a whole lot of baggage, all of that brokenness, right? And I'm taking so many years of trying to heal. But then it was, you get to the healing point, like the forgiveness piece and the letting things go piece and releasing the bitterness and the anger and all of those things. And then it came into that phase where it was like reprogramming the love that I had for myself, reprogramming the words that I would speak over myself. And
Yes.
you have to come to a place in life where like I'm still not happy, but I have like, and I have a blessed life. Even 8 years ago, we had, a very blessed life. We get to go on vacations, we have reliable transportation, we have a nice warm home. Like those are all things that I was taking for granted, but still longing. I had a shopping problem. So I'd always be longing to be like trying to find something to satisfy my happy.
Mhm,
And then I am
mhm.
like, why am I doing this? I had to ask myself, like, you could be so much further ahead, Stacey. Put it in savings, do an investment, buy real estate, do something else. Like, why are you spending so foolishly? And then I started to recognize that it was like I was trying to fill a void that only our God could fill. And I had a relationship with him, but I hadn't had that true understanding of how he knit me together, and that I was born on purpose for a purpose, and that he don't make mistakes. Like I knew that I could preach that till I was blue in the face, but to hear it come back, like to be able to take a dose of my own medicine was a hard
Oh,
pill to
yes.
swallow.
Oh, yes. I have to tell myself that all the time, Stacey, being a life and happiness coach. Listen to your own advice, okay? I have to
Yes.
tell
Yes, like we eat a lot of humble pie, don't we, Jeannie?
yes, yes, yes. I'm like, oh, okay. I need to listen to what I'm saying to other people.
Yeah, like, and I love that about people that are authentic and real, because they'll be like, oh, I'm sharing this, but as it's falling out of my mouth, this message is for me. So take what you
Yes,
want from it, but I'm really speaking to myself.
really. And I say that all the time because when I write, I'm writing to myself. When I write
Mm,
articles, I'm writing to myself. Just today on my podcast, I was talking about control and
mm,
not being so easily angered. And
mm.
then I had to, stop and say, oh, I'm still working on that.
Yes. And I love the honesty, because the end of the day, we're never really arrived. Like we're never really just be fully healed and overcome all of this adversity. We're a work in progress. So
That's right.
if you're looking to me for perfection, you are not going to find it in my house. I'll tell you
Okay.
that.
No, but and that's another thing that I talked about today about taking those small steps,
Hmm.
just taking the small steps and being happy that we're making progress every day
Yeah,
because we'll be always working on ourselves,
that's right.
always until the
Always.
day we leave here. We
That's
will
right.
always be working on ourselves.
Yeah.
So to me, the goal for me is to just be better than I was yesterday.
Amen. Yes.
You
I
know,
love that.
and
I love that quote that says, I may not be where I want to be, but I most certainly am not where I used to be. And I
oh
thank God
yes.
for that.
Oh, I do too. I do too, because that is the story of my life.
Mm,
Um, and it I say all the time, we have to be patient with ourselves. You
mhm.
know, we're so we'll be quick to be compassionate to other people,
That's right.
and we'll be kind to other people, patient with other people. But then when it comes to ourselves, we sometimes don't show that same compassion.
That's true.
We'll
Mhm.
be harder on ourselves. And it's a constant thing. It's a constant, day by day, minute by minute. And we fall down, but we get up.
That's right. Mhm.
We fall down, you know, um,
And we may
and
fall again. We'll
may
definitely
fall
fall again.
again,
Yeah. It's part
you
of
know,
life.
it's part of life. I just know right at this point in my life, I don't fall as far as I was down. I don't go down that dark rabbit hole
That's
that I
right.
was in. You
Mhm.
know, I don't go down there, but I still have things to work on. My temper is one of them, you know.
I can't see you having a temper. I don't see
I'm
that in you
thinking,
at all. I have had my fair share of turning 50 shades of ugly, believe you me. But it's hard to get to that place. And you find, because of everything that you've been through, like our tolerance to stupidity, I guess, like when people are always like pulling and drawing and grabbing from us because we're so generous in nature, that it takes a long time for us to have that breaking moment where we have horns and a pitchfork pop out.
oh,
But
oh, yes, it's nowhere near. And this is what I was saying today, is when you recognize that, and when you recognize the things that you really truly should work on, and then you can gain control, you
mm,
know, because at one time I thought yelling and screaming and that was it.
that was how we got our voice heard.
That
That's
was
how
how
we
to,
were
that's,
heard.
yes, the
Yes.
louder, yes, the louder you scream, and the more you bang on everything and throw that tantrum, the more attention you're going to get, and you're going to get what you want. But I had to learn that it's better to stay calm, do things in a rational way, step back from situations rather than rushing head on,
Mhm.
and take time to really evaluate and go and sometimes even put yourself in that other person's shoes.
Mm,
You know, look at things from their perspective.
mhm.
That has helped me
Yeah.
control that anger, you know, because I went, Stacy, I went from being this timid uh, doormat where everybody could walk on me, to I am not taking anything from anybody. I went all the way left.
You and I are so much alike, because I was a church mouse growing up. Like, you would not hear peep from me unless like someone, you just wouldn't, because I didn't matter if I asked a question, if I made a comment, my parents would always like look at my facial expressions, and I must have had disgust on my face growing up as a kid my whole life, because I'd always get a backhand for something. And and then I went into this manipulative, aggressive, like every guy. It was mostly towards men, where I just had a hate on for them and that they were going to give me what I needed. And so I was very manipulative. I used my sex appeal because I had it back then. And I would just, I don't know, what do they call it? It's like the Black Widow. I don't know.
Mhm,
It's
mhm.
like, I think that's, that submissive type spirit. And I would really get what I wanted in that way, but I was always so miserable and empty and still
Mhm.
lonely.
Yes.
And that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for acceptance and a place to get my roots, because I moved a lot as a child as well. And I just wanted a place to be able to dig my roots in, to get secure and stable, and not have to worry about where we're going next month, you know?
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes. But we're talking about the power of love.
yes.
And so when we can say that love lifted us,
Amen.
love lifted us
It sure has
out of that,
transformed us.
transformed us out of that. And what I love to say, and what my life is, because God gave me a purpose.
Mhm,
He gave me a purpose out of that pain,
mhm.
out of all the pain, all the things that I allowed to come into my life, all the hell that I caused myself and other people. There was a reason for it.
Mhm.
And God, when at the point where I was willing to submit and just say, here I am,
Mm.
use me.
Yes, that's a bold step to make. But it's not regrettable. I can promise you that.
It's not, it's not, because I know now, Stacy, and I'm so happy to be of service, because I'm of service in his name. I'm his representative,
Mhm.
one of his representatives.
That's right.
I'm one of his representatives.
That's
And to be one of his representatives means I should strive to take on his colors.
mm,
And what are his colors?
love, peace,
Love.
joy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And to do that, I have to kill off the old man, that old me.
Like shed it all off.
Shed it, like, yes, just shed it off.
The best shower you'll ever have.
Just take it all off, because he cannot use you for his service with you carrying around anything negative.
Mm, it's true.
Hate, the animosity,
Insecurities.
insecurities,
Mhm,
ill will, unkindness, no compassion.
mhm.
He can't use you.
You can't use that.
No,
It's not his
no,
image, and
it's
we
not
are
his image.
created
Those are
in
not
his
his
image.
colors.
That's right. I love that.
So, in order for him to use you for his good, then love has to be your ruling force.
Mhm. Yeah. Above all things.
Above all things,
Mhm.
love should be your ruling force. And when you say, I love, then you have to say, what are my actions?
Right.
How do I demonstrate my love?
Mm.
Because love is an action word, not just an emotion.
Right. It's been really thrown around like candy, right?
Yes.
And people misrepresent the word in a lot of ways. Hence the fact that I ended up getting fallen into a lot of really nasty relationships.
Me
Oh, I
too.
love you. I love you. Oh, you do? Okay. I'm open for business.
That's all you have to say is, I love you. Wow.
Yes. But again, like it starts with you, like receiving God's love, allowing it to resonate within you, showering off all the old dysfunction, and allowing love to just penetrate and nurturing that love that's within you so that you can overflow it into everybody else's lives around you, right? We can't do
Right,
that if we're broken.
right, right. So, and being a willing servant,
Yes.
being a willing servant. So I don't see myself as being any less than anyone else,
That's right.
but I don't put myself in such a high state that I'm so arrogant
Mhm.
that I think I'm all of this and a bag of chips. You say a bag of chips. I have to say that. I'm only what God has made me.
Yes.
And I always say that if God didn't give me anything to say now, Stacy, I wouldn't have anything to say.
Yeah.
It's him.
That's
Before I do any podcast, I always pray to him that the words that come from my mouth are the words that he wants me to speak.
right.
I don't want my ego to get in the way.
Yeah, we
I
have
don't
to check
want
it at the
Jeanne.
door.
I don't want me to start thinking that Jeannie has all of this to say. Whatever I say, I want it to reflect him.
I love that.
Whatever I want it to be, water to someone's soul,
So good.
because I know that that's him.
Mm.
So I want him
We're
to
only
come.
human after all, my friends. It's God that does the real heavy lifting.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
I just have to get out the way and just
Mhm.
well, and what I do strive to do is make this vessel
Available.
one that is pure enough for him to come through,
Right.
because he's not going to come in a dirty vessel.
Well, he comes, but he nudges us.
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
well,
because
he's
that
there.
was plenty dirty when he came on into my
Well, no,
vessel.
no, he is there. You're right. He's there,
Yes.
because I had an experience where he had to say to me, I've always been with you. I've
Yes.
always been with you.
Always.
But and let me clarify that, for him, in order to use you in the best manner possible, for the words that come from your mouth, that of him, his spirit has to dwell in you.
Yeah, we have to invite him in. Yeah,
We have
he's
to.
such a gentleman. He ain't gonna force himself
He
into
is
it.
not, he's there.
Yeah,
He's there. He's always
waiting
there.
patiently for us.
Yes, he's
Yes.
always there. I was telling someone the other day this experience that I had, and I don't know how much time we have, because I'm a motor mouth when I
Oh,
get to
and I
talking
just
about
am
God.
loving this conversation. So we should probably, I'll hear your story and then we'll tie it up. But I could talk about this stuff all day too. So I
I
apologize.
know, I know. No, don't apologize. I've talked to this lady yesterday, and we were supposed to just have a 30-minute Zoom, and we ended up it was an hour and 30 minutes that we talked,
Wow.
because just like what we're saying here, and I'm going to save my story for another time, because there are so many things that I could say about how God has blessed me, and so many things that I can say about the experiences that I've had, up close personal stories about him making himself real to me. And so he's always been there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's
taking
always been
care of
there.
me too, sister. Just quickly, there was times where when I was a single mom, I'd come home from work wondering like how I was going to get milk and diapers. And I'd come home and there would be money taped to my door. Some anonymous stranger would come and take money to my door
Yeah.
for different things like that happen
Yes.
throughout my life. And there's only one reason, like that's God using humans, like using, because we are the hands and feet. So I'm like, my desire, because I've had so many of those experiences in the past where God has showed up through other people to bless me or meet a need or to fulfill a prayer, that request that I had. And I want to be that person. I want God to use me in that way. I want to be a mysterious blesser, like that gentleman that gave up his apartment for you, that angel.
Oh, yes.
I want to be the
Yes.
wings of that fire for somebody to give them a hand up when they're feeling
Yes.
down in the dumps and like everyone's given up on them. I want God to use me in that way.
And
So
he is, Stacy.
yeah.
He's using you. He's using you now in
Oh,
that way.
thank you,
He's using you
sister.
now. It may not be as big as you envision because,
I got
but
big visions.
but you are being used in that way right now at this very moment. There is someone that is hearing what you are saying and it's giving them hope, because that's what is lacking a lot in people's lives now, is a lot of people feel hopeless,
Yeah, that's so
you
sad.
know, and to hear someone say, I at one time did not know how I was going to get milk and diapers for my baby.
Mm.
And God came and showed up.
Before I even invited him
Before
into
you
my
even,
life.
before you even change your life. This is me when I'm saying this stranger came along. You would think that that would have been enough for me to just snap out of what I was in, but it wasn't. But God still came.
He did,
He
yes.
still came. He carried me. And in fact, I had this experience where he let me know I have, and this is when I stopped, because I went through a period when I was an agnostic. I was questioning the existence of God.
Yep, and rightfully so, being raised the way you
All
were.
right, and
Yeah,
all of this going on.
yeah.
And he came to me in a very dramatic way where he let me know that he's always been with me. I was denying him.
Oh,
I was denying him, but he was
wow.
always with me. And that is what we do.
Yeah.
We deny him. We let go of him. He never
Like,
lets
we
go of
got
us.
this, God. You go take a vacay. Like, I got this. I could do it better than you. No, I cannot.
And that's usually when we mess up. That's
Yeah.
when we mess up. That's when we mess up. When we start thinking, oh, I got it. I got it. I got it. That's why I say I strive on a daily basis to realize it's all about him.
Hmm.
It's all about him.
And advancing the
Not
kingdom.
Jeannie,
Mhm.
not Jeannie. Jeannie mess up. Jeannie get it wrong.
Jeannie gets locked in a bottle, sister. Let's be real.
Jeannie will get what we were talking about. Jeannie might do something really, really off the wall. So Jeannie constantly has to be saying, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer.
Yeah.
It's me. So yes, yes, yes. But there's power in that love.
Power in the love. Yes, ladies, power in the love. So on that note, Jeannie, if anyone here in the community wants a little dose and fire of the fire of love that you have to instill and extend to others, how do they get in touch with you, and what kinds of programs or services do you offer for the community to have a better understanding on how they could work with you?
Okay. My website is I am Jeannie, JeanneM.com, like Jeannie Muhammad, JeannieM.com. And my email is Jeannie@IamJeannieM.com. I have a podcast. Everything is under Jeannie Muhammad. If you Google Jeannie Muhammad, just Google Jeannie Muhammad and see what comes up.
You'll find where you want to go.
Well, Google Jeannie Muhammad. It will take you to my Facebook page. It will take you to my YouTube channel. It takes you to Instagram. Everything that I have is under Jeannie Muhammad.
Love it. And what kind of programs and services do you offer your community?
I have e-courses. I
Nice.
have it that it's under A Better Me.
Love it.
Yes, I have books. I have my 5 books. Take Back Your Pen is the first book that I wrote. How to Rewrite Your Life Story talks about the things that I went through and what I had to do in order to rewrite my life story. Embrace yourself, A Better Me, embracing yourself, embracing change. So I do self-development blogs on my website. There, I love to write.
Yes.
I love to write. So when you go to my website, you will find tons of things to read. And when you go to my YouTube channel, I have tons of videos. Tons of videos that, because when I got over my camera shyness, Stacy,
It's like
I said,
took
God,
the horse out to the Derby. He's running the races.
So just Google Jeannie Muhammad. See what comes up.
You'll find all the goods. Awesome. Well, thank you ever so very much for coming and sharing your story and just the power that love can have to transform us from the inside out. And it's never too late, my friends. Never too late.
Never too late.
That's right.
Never. Just know that God is there waiting for you.
Yeah, and it's just one step at a time. Like we don't got to do it all at once.
Yes.
So just embrace the love. Start with yourself.
Yes. Thank you,
Awesome.
Stacey. Thank you so much.
Bless you, love.